February 19, 1945, 0529 hours, 1 minute before the invasion. In the volcanic tunnels of Iwo Jima, 21,000 Japanese soldiers waited in complete silence. For 3 days, they had endured a bombardment unprecedented in human history, 22,000 tons of explosives that had literally lowered the island's elevation by 6 feet. Now, in the sudden quiet, General Tadamichi Kuribayashi stood at his observation post, watching the American landing craft approaching through the dawn mist. His artillery officers waited for the order to fire, but Kuribayashi was looking at something else. The offshore fleet, 450 ships, more vessels than the entire Imperial Japanese Navy possessed. And in that moment, watching the most powerful invasion force ever assembled, he understood a truth that would define the Pacific War. Japan had never been fighting America. They had been fighting American factories, and factories don't surrender. Kuribayashi was 53 years old, a senior commander. He had studied military strategy at Harvard from 1928 to 1930. He had served as a military attaché in Washington. He knew America. He had seen Detroit's factories. He had visited Pittsburgh's steel mills, and when Imperial General Headquarters assigned him to defend Iwo Jima in summer 1944, he knew what he was facing. "Gentlemen," he spoke quietly to his artillery officers, his eyes still on the horizon. "Do not fire. Wait until they reach the beach. The ships are out of range." The officers were surprised. After 3 days of bombardment, there was finally silence. The enemy was vulnerable, but Kuribayashi knew those 450 ships were just waiting for a fire order. And if Japanese artillery revealed their positions, what followed would make the last 3 days look like child's play. Because Kuribayashi knew what he had witnessed over the past 74 hours, and this was only the beginning. February 16th, 1945, 0600 hours, the beginning of the bombardment. The first salvo came before sunrise. USS Nevada, USS Idaho, USS Tennessee, USS Texas, battleships, legends of American naval history, 14-inch and 16-inch guns, each firing shells the size of trucks. Kuribayashi, in the command bunker beneath Mount Suribachi, felt the first explosions. Concrete walls shook, ceiling dust rained down, light bulbs swayed. "It has begun," he said to Colonel Baron Takechi Nishi, tank unit commander and 1932 Los Angeles Olympics gold medalist in equestrian. Nishi, like Kuribayashi, was one of the rare Japanese officers who knew America. "How long will it last?" Nishi asked. "I don't know, but it will last very long." Kuribayashi wasn't wrong. The bombardment would last 74 hours. Continuous. Night and day. Every second an explosion somewhere. Every minute tons of steel and high explosives striking volcanic rock. 0800 hours. The first count. Communications officer Lieutenant Yasuo Fujita climbed the stairs, looked outside through the observation slit. He couldn't count. There were too many ships. The horizon was covered with steel. "Commander," he reported to Kuribayashi, "at least 6 battleships, 10 cruisers, 20 destroyers, countless support vessels, and aircraft carriers. At least 12, maybe more. There are more beyond the horizon." Kuribayashi quietly took notes. 12 aircraft carriers. Japan had built a total of 25 throughout the entire war, and most had been sunk. The Americans had sent 12 aircraft carriers to bombard a single island. By noon, Kuribayashi was trying to calculate numbers. Officers brought reports. 16-inch shells from battleships, 4 to 6 shots per minute per ship. 8-inch shells from cruisers, 6 to 8 shots per minute. Destroyers, continuous fire. Air raids from carriers, every 15 minutes. Kuribayashi made a simple calculation. 6 battleships times 5 shots per minute times 60 minutes equals 1,800 large caliber shells just in the first hour. And the bombardment had just begun. This is not sustainable. said Colonel Nishi. "Their ammunition will run out." Kuribayashi smiled, a bitter smile. "No, it won't run out. The Americans have something we don't understand. Unlimited industrial capacity." "Commander? Baron? How many shells have we produced since Pearl Harbor? All of Japan?" Nishi thought. "I don't know, maybe 500,000? And the Americans, 2 million per month, maybe more. For them, ammunition is infinite." February 17th, 0200 hours. Night bombardment. Darkness stopped nothing. American ships illuminated the island with searchlights. Night became day, and the bombardment continued. In the tunnels of Iwo Jima, Japanese soldiers couldn't sleep. Constant shaking, constant noise. Some began to go mad. Screams were heard in the depths of the tunnels. Kuribayashi walked through the tunnel system. He tried to calm his men, but what could he say? The truth was known by everyone. Above, on the surface, the world was being destroyed. Lieutenant Fujita brought a report. "Commander, we're listening to American naval communications, not encrypted. They're speaking openly." "What are they saying?" "They're doing ammunition counts. USS Idaho, 850 shells fired, 600 remaining. USS Tennessee, 920 fired, 780 remaining." "Commander, a single ship carries 1,500 large-caliber shells." Kuribayashi calculated. 6 battleships times 1,500 shells equals 9,000 large-caliber shells, just from battleships, not including cruisers, destroyers, or air bombardment. "Continue," he ordered. "Record every count. We'll report to Tokyo." But reporting to Tokyo was meaningless, because Tokyo already knew, or should have known. What was happening at Iwo Jima wasn't just an island bombardment. It was a microcosm of the entire Pacific War. February 17th, 1430 hours. The island reshaping. Kuribayashi looked through the observation slit. He didn't recognize it. He didn't recognize Iwo Jima. When he arrived here 3 weeks ago, the island showed distinct geographical features. Hills, valleys, rocky outcrops. Now, it was flat, literally. The bombardment had changed the geography. Mount Suribachi, the volcanic peak at the southern tip of the island, still stood, but everything around it was gone. Trees, buildings, defensive positions, all turned to rubble. "Commander," an officer came. "Northern defense line." Not responding. Probably buried. Kuribayashi nodded. 800 men were assigned to the northern line. They were buried in bunkers. Maybe they were alive, maybe not. "Send a rescue team, but only at night. Daytime is too dangerous." Because the bombardment wasn't limited to guns. American aircraft dived every 15 minutes. F-6F, Hellcat fighters, SB-2C Helldiver bombers, 500-pound bombs, rocket attacks, machine gun fire. Total aircraft Japan produced in the entire war, 70,000. Americans had produced 96,000 aircraft in 1944 alone, and production was accelerating in 1945. February 17th, 2200 hours. Intelligence report. Lieutenant Fujita brought an encrypted report. Kuribayashi read it, twice, 3 times, then handed it to Colonel Nishi. American fleet ammunition inventory, broadcast in clear communication. 30,000 shells fired. Remaining ammunition, 44,000 shells. Silence. Nishi tried to understand the numbers. This isn't possible. 74,000 large caliber shells. For a single operation? Possible. And real. Baron, we're facing something we don't understand. An industrial civilization. For them, shells are like rice for us. Unlimited. Kuribayashi pulled out his diary. He began to write. Commanders, keeping personal diaries was forbidden, but some things needed to be recorded. February 17th, Day 3. Bombardment continues. American fleet carries 74,000 large-caliber shells. This is more than Japan's entire naval artillery ammunition production in 1944. For a single operation, I'll report to Tokyo. But they won't believe, or won't want to believe. The truth, we don't understand the mathematical impossibility of defeating America. While they make ships, aircraft, shells, we talk about courage, sacrifice, spirit, but courage cannot stop 16-inch shells in naval warfare. February 18th, 1,000 hours, psychological collapse. On the third day of bombardment, some soldiers began to go insane. Hysterical screams were heard in the tunnels. Men tried to go outside, to die, to find silence. Kuribayashi talked to his soldiers. Endure. When the invasion comes, we'll fight. When the Americans land on the beach, the advantage will be ours. But a non-commissioned officer bravely asked, Commander, what if the bombardment continues for 3 more days? It won't. Their ammunition will run out. But Kuribayashi was lying. He knew the Americans' ammunition wouldn't run out, because behind them, thousands of kilometers away, there were factories, and those factories were producing shells per second. February 18th, 1800 hours, the coming of silence. The bombardment slowed, stopped. For the first time in 72 hours, there was silence. In the tunnels, soldiers breathed. Some cried, some prayed. Kuribayashi went to the observation slit, looked outside. Iwo Jima was gone. A rocky desert remained. No plants, no structures, just craters and rubble. Commander, Colonel Nishi came to him. Is it over? No. Tomorrow morning, the invasion. This was just the softening bombardment. Softening? 3 days? The Americans take no risks. They prepare completely. And tomorrow morning, 30,000 Marines will land. February 19th, 05:29 hours, 1 minute before invasion. Kuribayashi stood at the observation post. Dawn appeared as a pink line on the horizon. And on that line, there were 450 ships. He had never seen anything like this. Ships stretched from horizon to horizon. Battleships, cruisers, destroyers, aircraft carriers, landing ships, support vessels. The Pacific was covered with steel. Gentlemen, he spoke to his artillery officers, do not fire. Wait until they reach the beach. Because Kuribayashi had understood, those 450 ships weren't just platforms. Each was a part of American industry. Tanks made in Detroit, steel forged in Pittsburgh, fuel refined in Texas, and each ship carried unlimited ammunition. Japan had lost this war, lost it at Pearl Harbor, because wars weren't won with courage. They were won with industry. 0900 hours. The landing, the first waves, American Marines set foot on the sand. Kuribayashi didn't give the fire order. Let more soldiers land, more targets. 30 minutes later, 5,000 Marines were on the beach. Now, fire! Japanese artillery opened from hidden positions. Mortars, machine guns, cannons. The beach became hell. But 60 seconds later, the American Navy responded. 450 ships fired simultaneously. Kuribayashi had never seen anything like this. The sound was beyond hearing. The air trembled from the shaking. Concrete walls cracked. Japanese artillery positions were eliminated one by one. Coordinates had been determined. Radar, observation, aircraft, Marine spotter teams. The Americans knew every Japanese gun and systematically destroyed it. February 19th, 1500 hours. End of first day. When the sun set, 30,000 American soldiers were on Iwo Jima. Casualties were heavy, 548 dead, 1,800 wounded. But the beachhead was secure. Kuribayashi withdrew into the tunnels. His men were fighting, for every meter, for every rock. But the mathematics were merciless. There were 21,000 Japanese soldiers. Ammunition was limited. No fuel. Reinforcement impossible. The Americans? 110,000 more soldiers were coming. Ammunition ships kept arriving. Air support was continuous. March 26, 1945. 36 days later, Kuribayashi's end. General Tadamichi Kuribayashi led the final banzai charge on the night of March 26th, with 300 surviving Japanese soldiers. They attacked American lines. All died. Kuribayashi's body was never found. Maybe he was killed by Marines. Maybe he killed himself. Maybe he was buried in the tunnels under the bombs. But his legacy remained, because the defense of Iwo Jima was recorded as the most heroic resistance in Japanese history. 36 days. Of 21,000 Japanese soldiers, 20,703 died. Only 216 were taken prisoner. American casualties were also heavy. 6,821 dead, 19,217 wounded. For a single island, for 8 square miles, but the numbers told another truth. 1952, San Francisco. Kuribayashi's letters published. Kuribayashi's correspondence with his family was published after the war. The most striking letter was written in January 1945, the last letter before arriving at Iwo Jima. Dear Teiko, I know I won't see you and the children. My duty is to defend Iwo Jima, but I cannot defend it, because there is a mathematical impossibility of defeating America. When I was at Harvard, I visited Detroit factories. A single Ford factory was producing 1 truck per hour. I was impressed then. Now I understand. That single factory was more powerful than all of Japan. We will fight at Iwo Jima, courageously, but courage cannot defeat factory production. While we talk about samurai spirit, they make shells per second. Mathematics is merciless. 1960s America, former Marine memories, General Holland M. Howland Mad Smith, commander of the Iwo Jima operation, wrote in his memoirs, Iwo Jima was the bloodiest battle in the Pacific, but there was no alternative. The Japanese had turned that island into a fortress. To take it, we had to use all our industrial might. 74 hours of bombardment, unprecedented in history, and still it wasn't enough. The Japanese survived in tunnels. A 36-day battle. Kuribayashi was a genius. He understood American-style warfare. His tactic was not to do banzai charges, to defend, to make every meter expensive, and we only defeated him with numbers. More men, more shells, more tanks. In the end, mathematics won. 1985. Tokyo. Iwo Jima, 40th anniversary ceremony. Former Japanese soldiers, survivors, gathered. Of 216 prisoners, 47 were still alive. One spoke anonymously. Commander Kuribayashi told us the truth. We will lose this war, but let's lose honorably. 3 days of bombardment, we went mad in the tunnels. Constant shaking, constant noise. Some friends killed themselves, just to find silence. Then the landing came. 30,000 Americans. Then 60,000. Then 110,000. It never ended. Our ammunition ran out. Their ammunition never ran out. We starved. They ate canned food. Our wounded died. They had hospital ships. Mathematics was merciless. We were 21,000 people. They were infinite resources. Conclusion. The price of an island. Iwo Jima was 8 square miles, 3% the size of Manhattan. But strategically vital. Emergency landing strip for B-29 bombers. For air raids on Japan. What did the Americans pay for this small island? 6,821 dead, 19,217, wounded 22,000 tons, explosives 1.2 billion, 1945 value. What did the Japanese pay? 20,703 dead, nearly entire garrison, the island itself. But the most important payment was psychological. Iwo Jima was only 1,200 kilometers from Tokyo. America was at Japan's door. And everyone knew, if a small island could receive this much bombardment, what would mainland Japan see? The answer came 6 months later. Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Atomic bombs. But Kuribayashi already knew. Under that bombardment, in the tunnels, when he calculated, he understood. Japan had lost the war, because Japan was fighting with courage. America was fighting with factories, and factories always win. Kuribayashi's final words, March 26, 1945, final radio transmission. To Tokyo, to General Headquarters. Final report from Iwo Jima Garrison. All units annihilated. No ammunition, no water, no medical supplies. 300 surviving soldiers will make final charge tonight. American strength was not their technology or strategy, it was their industry. To defeat them, you must defeat their factories. While we talked about samurai spirit, they made 1,000 shells per hour. To future generations, war is not won with courage, it is won with steel. And America was producing infinite steel. Tenohaka Banzai, long live the emperor.